Hello there everyone, welcome back, and today I'm going to be talking about the entirety of The Flash, that CW show, seasons 1 through 6. Now, one of the reasons why I decided to do a video on this is because for the past few months, since I'd say August, me along with a friend, we would watch The Flash during this time, and I've really, at first it was just, he wanted to show me some episodes, so I watched a few, but then over time I'm really starting to like it, so we just basically every other day we would watch a few episodes, and eventually it came down to I watched the whole show, so I thought I might as well do a video on it. And I actually have a lot I would like to say on it, and I know that this is going to be, it'll probably be a pretty long video because I'm talking about 6 seasons of this show, so I'll just put time codes in the description for whenever I talk about a specific season. But enough rambling aside, I'm just going to get right into it. So season 1 of The Flash. Now, this is basically what you call an introduction season, where you introduce your main characters, the main bad guy, the character, you see what he's like before he gets his powers. Oh, and also, before I really dive into it, there's gonna be spoilers. I'm spoiling this whole thing. But yeah, so you dive into the character and who he was before, who his friends are, what his job is. Like, you learn a lot about him, and then once he obviously gets his powers, he fumbles around. He learns throughout new abilities like phasing, getting really fast, and all sorts of stuff. And what made me really was surprised about the season is because I watched the show out of order. I started with we watched the ending of season 2, and then I was interested to see, because that ending of that and starting of season 3 was Flashpoint, which is one of the things I know about Flash, is that big event. So I wanted to see how that unfolded. So we watched all season 3. Then we watched season 4, I believe. Then we went back and watched season 1. Then we watched 5 and 6, and then 2. So basically we watched the whole thing out of order. And I don't know if that helped or not, but upon seeing, I really do respect and admire season 1 a lot, because story-wise, I think it's the most compelling. And with the villain, I think the villain is really good. Obviously, it's the Reverse Flash, who, that one actor whose name I cannot remember, but he plays the same character but different versions, because in season 1 he's obviously the real villains impersonating him because he got rid of his counterpart on their Earth. So he's the bad guy for the most part in season 1. Season 2, there's a different one from a different Earth, because this show really explores and dives into the multiverse, as do all the CW, DC shows. But this one really dives into it, where there's multiple Earths with different doppelgangers, the same person but just different, of how they are and stuff. So that show really dives into that stuff. And so this actor does such a fantastic job playing, each season he's always a different character. And I mean, sometimes the character that he did play survives and comes back and all, but it's pretty nice to see him explore different techniques of his acting skills. So I really do appreciate that. And the whole cast, I think, is just really solid. You have, of course, Barry Allen, the Flash. You have Cisco. You have Caitlin, who were the two people that were working with Dr. Wells, who is obviously the main bad guy of season 1. So once Barry got into his accident, because the main villain orchestrated all of this, where there was this big particle accelerator explosion, which gave a lot of people in the city their powers, including the Flash, because he needed, his plan is so, really thought-provoking and interesting, because he went back in time to, kill the Flash, and since he failed, he killed the Flash's mom, hoping that would ruin him and all. And by doing that, he couldn't get back home. So now he needed to create the Flash so that together they could help him get back to his timeline, since he traveled way from the future. And the show is not it's funny and has its fun moments and all, but it's not afraid to get dark. At the end of season 1, 2 characters that you were thinking are going to stay on the team and all, Eddie, who was the partner for Joe, who is the adoptive dad of Barry, because the Flash had the Reverse Flash framed Barry's dad into killing his mom, so his dad went to jail for her murder. So it's just really crazy how much information is thrown at you, along with introduction and setup and a whole bunch of stuff. How it's a brilliant season. I truly mean that this was really good. Sure, it has its cringy moments for sure, like all CW shows have. Some of the effects are kind of hilariously bad. But honestly, at this point, if you watch a CW show, you're expecting this type of stuff. I sat through 4 seasons of Riverdale, so this was a breath of fresh air because Riverdale has its ups and downs. But if I could sit through that, I could sit through this. And I will tell you, I don't want to keep talking about season 1 because there's still 5 more seasons to talk about. But I will say that season 1 of The Flash was fantastic. Alright, so those are my thoughts on season 1. Now we're going to talk about season 2. Now season 2 basically picks up right after where season 1 left off, where after the events of that, and 2 of the members obviously are no longer with the team. Everyone just goes their separate ways, but they get back together, and upon doing that, they find out that there's another villain called Zoom who wants to be the fastest man alive and who is basically a psychopath from his Earth, Earth 2. And so Jay Garrick originally joins the team, and of course, like every season, you always have those episodes, like they plant seeds for the overall plot, but you have like side episodes where there's like, villains that, the villain of the day to defeat. That's basically how the show does it. And I was really surprised because some of these episodes like are really good. Like there's this one where Barry has to travel back to get a way to get faster and stuff, and he has to trick Eobon Thawne, the Reverse Flash, because it's just like, I don't want to dive into it that much, but that episode was really great. Like there's so many good episodes in this season that I was really surprised about. And again, like especially near the end of the season, like the emotional punches are just whoa. Like it gets really sad at parts. And after the events of this season, it really, like how each season sets up and ties into the next season, I think is really good. Like season 1, just oh no, a cataclysmic event and stuff, so they have to stop that. Season 2, Flash makes a really bad mistake and trying to save his mom, which of course creates Flashpoint, and then and so forth. And also Cisco, because of what happened in last season where he was basically and there was a different timeline where the Flash accidentally reversed time, and so Cisco was killed in that previous timeline, and since he sees the visions of that, he basically got metahuman abilities where he could vibe the future or different events and stuff like that. And Caitlin, they set up that she will be Killer Frost, and before she wasn't, and also they have her with Zoom because they thought that the guy pretended to be Jay Garrick, the Flash from that Earth 2, when really he's Zoom, he's just tricking everyone. And so they kind of have a romantic thing, and then he kidnaps her and she has to deal through all that. And the actor that plays all these different Wells, he comes back, but obviously it's not the Wells that they all knew, so they're really not as trustworthy of him, and he's kind of a jerk, but he has his own stakes and wanted to save his daughter because Zoom basically ruined his Earth. And there's a lot more that I can talk about here, but basically this was another great season with, again, throughout the show, the effects are not that good. I mean, there's some good moments and bad moments, but that's just expected at this point. And I would say that it's because of it's a TV, but I've seen shows like Mandalorian and stuff like that, and those effects are phenomenal. So maybe it's just, how much the budget they're allowed to do or something like that, or just the people working on it, but I don't know. But the effects are not really what people are here for. They're here for the characters and the stories. And for these first 2 seasons, they were both pretty great. Those are my thoughts on season 2. Now on to season 3. So season 3 is probably this was the first real season I saw of the show, and it made me really want to watch the rest of the show because apparently a lot of people don't like this season, but I really like how different it is because the main villain, instead of again, it's another speedster, so that's the 3rd time in a row, but here you find out you don't know who it is with the other 2 seasons. Season 1 you kind of know, and season 2 you're who is it, even though it was right in front of you. Season 3, where you eventually find out that it's a different version of Barry, one of his time remnants or whatever. That was really cool and really you could have been predicting it, but still it was kind of whoa. So he's playing the good guy and the bad guy, the Barry Allen. So I thought that was really cool. They introduced new characters like Julian Albert, phenomenal character, excellent. He needs to come back. And they basically dive into Caitlyn being Killer Frost and her trying to deal with these abilities. Like, a lot of repercussions of Flashpoint echo throughout the season. Like Cisco's brother, who died in a car crash now because of this. Different stuff that changed because of that. Like, a lot of them hang over the season, and I think that's really cool and underrated because people wanted the whole season to be Flashpoint. I was fine with what they did, to be honest with you. And I mean, you have some episodes that are skippable, that aren't really necessary. Like, this is where the show, like, the first 2 seasons are great, and then as it went along, the show kind of decreases in quality. But still, it was another fine season, had its moments. They introduced yet again another Harrison Wells. This one's probably my favorite one though, HR. I think he's my favorite Harrison Wells because he's really funny. He's nice. He isn't that bright, but his heart is in the right place, basically. And yeah, like, everyone I thought had good stuff to do on the team. So those are my thoughts on season 3. All right, on to season 4. Now, season 4 is finally not a speedster villain. It's the Thinker, I think his name is, who is probably the most intelligent man on the planet or whatever. And he's basically, like, his main goal is to, like, he creates all these metas to then take their bodies from them to get the perfect form because his body's decaying because of what happened to him in the particle accelerator explosion. And he wants to basically wipe out technology and get rid of it all, and basically have everyone go back to the old times where there was no technology and all that type of stuff. And I was just like, that plan's crazy and stupid, but let's watch this show anyways. So they introduced new characters like Hartley Sawyer's character, the elongated man, basically the Mr. Fantastic, the stretchy dude. He becomes he basically gets introduced here, and later on he becomes like a big person on the team. You have more stuff with, Caitlin Snow, with Killer Frost and all that type of stuff, with Cisco and all that. Iris and Joe, they're still here. I didn't really mention Wally, but he comes and goes from this show. He isn't really that important, but he's also a speedster. You have some interesting stuff they do, like Barry getting framed for something he didn't do and he goes to jail. Like, they do some different stuff with the storyline. You have them trying to save all these people that were given powers in this bus accident, and they keep, like, it's like dread building up because each episode you have that character and you try to save them, and then a few episodes later, or that same episode, they just get killed by the Thinker. And then when you think it happens to the guy who you were with a lot, the elongated man, you're like, oh no. But then how it ties in, how they defeat him, and how it again sets up season 5. Like, I gotta admit, like, even though the seasons are dropping in quality, in my opinion, how they lean into each other and set up each other is really good, and I really do like it. And I don't really have that much more to say about season 4. I thought, like, of the seasons I watched up to this point, I thought it was the worst. Not that it was, like, completely bad, but I just thought the first 3 seasons were really compelling, really good, had great character moments, and, like, shocking, like, edge of your seat type of stuff. This season was, like, it was alright, but when they basically changed the format and add new storylines and different characters and all, that's when the show is really at its best, I feel. Alright, those are my thoughts on season 4. So, season 5, we're almost done, guys. But season 5 basically is really interesting because it started to do this trend where there's multiple main villains throughout, like season 6 does as well. So season 5, there's this villain Cicada with the dagger, and this person really hates, the metas and all because of how it destroyed their family and stuff. And so the person who is in charge of the little girl is trying to get revenge and kill all the metas with the dagger because he in of himself is a meta, but he thought he was given the ability to get rid of the others. So by, stabbing them with it and all, he, gets rid of their abilities and then is able to kill them. So you have that main threat, and while that's all going on, Barry and Iris, since they've gotten married at this point, their child from the future is, back in time because she helped with the cataclysmic event when everything was falling from the sky and all at the end of the last season. So she was altered the timeline. So now she has to try to, restore it, and she wants to help her dad, the Flash, stopped Cicada, since this was the one that the Flash never got. And in the future, he disappears because of Crisis, which is they've been setting up since the beginning. And so it's like they have a bunch of stuff there. A lot of people really don't like her character and all. She's up and down for me. She's sometimes really annoying and I don't like her. And at times she's passable. She's never good, if you know what I'm saying. Everyone else shines and grows into their characters. Iris is always up and down for me. I think the Elongated Man gets really good here. Again, Cisco, a bunch of characters that are just, they're kind of here because, they've been here for the whole show, so you kind of keep them. And you have another Harrison Wells, nothing new. Like this season was just kind of formulaic. It just kind of followed the same stuff. They when the show's not doing that well when you bring back your best villain, because Thawne comes back basically to replace the two cicadas, because there's another cicada who is from the future, and it's that little girl who was also impacted by it. And so they did some interesting stuff there, and I was kind of engaged at the start, but the season kind of trips on itself near the end of the finish line, unfortunately. But those were my thoughts on season 5. Alright, now season 6. Now, unfortunately, with season 6, it wasn't really able to complete itself, so it's kind of left open, and so you weren't able to get a finality to it, so it's really hard to judge this season. But I will say the first half I thought was really solid before, but how they did it is the first half was on this one specific villain, and then there was an episode which was a part of Crisis, because all the shows have Crisis Part 1 on, say, Arrow, and then Part 2 on Supergirl. They're all connected, where this big event, one episode was on each show, so you would have to watch each show to see each event. And so after all of Crisis, there was a big problem, since Barry, what he did in the Crisis to save the multiverse and all that, it basically destroyed the Speed Force. So now he's losing his speed, and so that means the next threat, which is this Mirror Lady psycho who kidnapped Iris and these other people, is growing in power and all. And so he's it's really hard for him to try to stop them because of that. So you have a really interesting conflict there. Again, the other characters, I hate I hate skipping over them and all, but there isn't really that much to say. It's the main story is why it's really good here. It's pretty solid. It's definitely better than season 5, but it just wasn't able to be finished, and a lot of stuff wasn't able to be finished with character stuff they were setting up or storylines, and it ends on a to be continued, which I hate when stuff does that. Again, it wasn't really their fault, but this is all we have right now to say, so this is all I can really say about it. But again, that was my thoughts on season 6. Whew, did it! I talked about all 6 seasons of this show. Wow, that was crazy. But yeah, I'm pretty sure looking back on this video is gonna be really funny, because if you've never heard or seen any of this stuff, you're gonna be like, what? But then again, why would you watch this video? Because I'm talking about all these seasons of this show if you've never watched it. But yeah, I was happy to get a video out like this, because this show I really do appreciate this show, because I was going through a lot of stuff, and I'm still kind of going through stuff, how I'm dealing with depression and stuff, and I'm really scared and all that sorts of stuff I don't want to dive into. But this show really helped me out and helped me through some of my stuff. So if a show can do that, despite its flaws and cringe and all, I give it major props. So again, thank you everyone to watching this video. I always appreciate it, every view I get. If you guys want to hit the subscribe button as well, that'd be pretty great. And if you want to hit the bell to get notified when I upload, that'd be really nice as well. And if you want to comment down below, what season of this show do you like, or what other Arrowverse shows, Arrow, Supergirl, etc. What do you like? What do you like about this universe and all? Please let me know down below in the comment section. Again, thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.